Ugh. Hello, child. Hello. You're not my child. Let me get rid of that. In 2017, the year of Altuve, a gentleman by the name of Tillman Fertitta purchased the Houston Rockets for a whopping NBA record of $2.2 billion. Side note, he had to compete with Beyonce for ownership of the Rockets. Can you imagine a world where Beyonce is the owner of the Houston Rockets? Like, what a crazy timeline that would be. After purchasing the Rockets and Inherently Clutch Gaming, a League of Legends esports team owned by the Rockets, and becoming co-owner of the Toyota Center, an idea almost immediately sprouted in this billionaire brain. Tillman went on to say, "I would put an NHL team here tomorrow." Since then, 6 years later, there hasn't really been much talk or conversation about there being an NHL team in Houston. Usually only coming up when teams relocate, like in 1993 when the Minnesota North Stars saw Houston as a potential new home, but ultimately landed in Dallas and became the Dallas Stars. By the way, this isn't the last time you'll hear about Minnesota, so keep an ear out. Or like now. The Arizona Coyotes are in sort of a strange situation. They've been arena hunting for a while, and they seem to be facing imminent relocation. This, of course, has generated a great buzz in Houston, and fans have been rallying for them to consider Houston. Personally, I don't see the Coyotes moving to Houston, and I think I'd prefer them to stay in Arizona. I hate seeing teams leave their cities. It makes me sad. I can't tell you how crushed I was when I heard that the Oakland A's would be leaving for Vegas. Oh, so sad. Oakland, I'm so sorry. Sorry, sidetracked. But like still, you get it. However, in the midst of all this, our billionaire hero, no, not that one, Tillman, revealed to Bloomberg in an article that he still views an NHL team as a big way to boost economy in downtown Houston, stating that talks with the NHL have intensified. In this interview, he said, "We've been talking with the NHL, but it's got to be good for both of us." Then Rockets president of business operations Gretchen Scher gave the Houston Chronicle some details on ongoing renovations to the Toyota Center. Renovations that included making sure it was hockey ready and equipped with an ice machine needed to make it an NHL venue. Now, I would be showing you that part of the article here, but the Houston Chronicle makes you pay to read it and will just completely block your screen until you do so. So my source is, just trust me, bro. It doesn't fully seem like the NHL is ready to expand, but NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman during the 2023 All-Star Game did say that other cities, including Houston, have been pushing hard for a team.
We're not looking at the moment at either. And what Utah, what Ryan Smith has expressed an interest in is an expansion. I know where that question was going, but that's not what this is about right now. Yeah. What? What about it? Okay, if somebody wants to express interest and tell us they want an expansion team, we'll talk to them as we talk to people in Houston, in Atlanta, in Cincinnati, Kansas City. There seems to be a increasing and vibrant expression of interest in having an NHL team in places where there aren't.
Now, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the ghost of Houston's hockey past. The Houston Aeros were a professional hockey team that played in the World Hockey Association from 1972 to 1978. The WHA, of course, being a direct competitor to the NHL. However, the Aeros didn't completely start in Houston. Their franchise was formed in Dayton, Ohio, and called the Dayton Aeros, spelled Arrows, and frankly, they seemed doomed from the start. Dayton residents were on the fence about having a team. Not only that, but there was just simply nowhere to put them. The only two options being a college arena that refused to install an ice rink after seeing the price, and Hare Arena, the largest hockey venue in town, that only sat 5,000 people. That's when the owner, Paul Deneau, moved the team to the Sam Houston Coliseum in 1972, where they would stay until 1975, where they would then again move to the Summit for the rest of their time. For now, ish. From the jump in Houston, the Aeros were a superpower, making it to the playoffs every year since their birth. They made it to the finals 3 times and won the league championship twice back-to-back. This was partly due to Deneau's great hiring ability. hiring Bill Foxy Dineen as coach and general manager. Dineen, an established Hall of Famer who had a tenured career playing in the NHL, minor leagues, and coaching, sought out the best and built a roster of established players, most, if not all of them, having NHL experience. Just their very first season, the Aeros finished their season with 39 wins, 35 losses, and just 4 overtime losses, ending in second place behind the Winnipeg Jets. Not exactly those Winnipeg Jets, but like the Winnipeg Jets. Same, but different. Despite all this success, the team's money situation was shaky. In 1977 to 1978, the Aeros fell from grace. After losing their star players in the Howe family to the New England Whalers over the summer, after the Aeros couldn't sustain their contracts and a number of players to the NHL, they started off slow and had to fight their way to a third-place finish. In that same year, the Houston Aeros ownership would put all of their chips in to enter the NHL. A campaign was launched to sell a little over 8,000 tickets, and negotiations to bring the Colorado Rockies to Houston began. No, not those Colorado Rockies. There was a different Colorado Rockies. The NHL had a different Colorado Rockies, and then they died, kinda. The Colorado Rockies refused to relocate to Houston and the deal fell through. The Rockies moved to New Jersey and became the New Jersey Devils. The Aeros would then get bumped out of the playoffs in 6 games by the hands of the Quebec Nordics in the very first round. That summer, the Aeros ownership sold but were unable to find a new owner and ceased operations on July 1978. The contracts of 15 players were sold to the Winnipeg Jets, and the Houston Aeros were no more. 16 years later, the Aeros name would return when the IHL expanded and the independent franchise, now adorned in green, white, and red, were back on the ice, and seemed to quickly return to their successful form. Their inaugural season, they managed a winning season and made the playoffs in front of a sold-out crowd in the Summit. Despite missing the playoffs their sophomore season, the Aeros slowly became a dominant team in the IHL. And despite their successes in the regular season, the Aeros did sort of struggle in the playoffs. Every game was an uphill battle. They won their first championship after taking the full 5 games to eliminate the Long Beach Ice Dogs in the second round, and 7 games to beat the Chicago Wolves for the Aeros to advance to their first Turner Cup Finals. The Aeros then faced the Orlando Solar Bears for the 1999 Turner Cup, and again, that lasted 7 games, winning their first ever championship. By 2001, the IHL was struggling financially. The league's expansion in the 1980s and 1990s included moving into already established NHL markets, and as a result, the NHL encouraged its owners to reassign their development operations into clubs in the American Hockey League, or the AHL, otherwise known as the chief rival of the IHL. Then, with no help from the NHL, the IHL declared bankruptcy and disbanded during the summer of 2001. The Aeros joined the AHL 1 year after the NHL expanded with the Minnesota Wild. I told you Minnesota would be back. I told you they'd be back. The Wild didn't have a primary development affiliate, so they entered an agreement with the Aeros to be their primary development affiliate. The Aeros would see victory in 2003, winning the Calder Cup after beating the Hamilton Bulldogs in 7 games. Again, 7 games. I know, they struggled a little bit, but they won. They got there. Before the 2003 to 2004 season, the team moved to the newly opened Toyota Center, and as a part of the transition, a majority ownership of the Aeros was sold to the Minnesota Wild, and the original Bomber logo was changed to a new logo featuring a forward-facing modern fighter jet below a bold Aeros along the chest. The Aeros remained competitive, qualifying for the playoffs 8 times in the last 10 seasons. They made it to the 2009 Western Conference Finals before being eliminated by the Manitoba Moose, and made it back to the Calder Cup Finals in 2011, but lost in 6 games to the Binghamton Senators. The Aeros played its final game on May 4, 2013, in a 7-0 loss to the Grand Rapid Griffins in the opening round of the 2013 playoffs. On April 18, 2013, NSNE announced that the Aeros would be relocated to Iowa, where they once again faded into nothing but a memory. Not all is lost, however. The future of hockey in Houston looks bright. In May of 2023, the University of Houston got a hockey team. The WHA Aeros recently had a reunion. A youth hockey club has rebranded from the Houston Wild Hockey Club to the Houston Junior Aeros. Houston just had its first ever hockey day in Houston. It was a huge success, with over 4,000 hockey fans showing up to reminisce about the Aero days, watch hockey, and to vouch for an NHL team in Houston.
H-Town is home to big league soccer and baseball and basketball and football, but there is no hockey in Space City. But man, you wouldn't know it if you spent any time at St. Arnold Brewery yesterday. Look at all the hockey jerseys in the house. In what was billed as a celebration of the sport, fans watched NHL games in the packed beer garden. They were able to take pictures on a Zamboni, and youngsters were taught the sport via street hockey. Now, Hockey Day in Houston was supported by the Harris County Houston Sports Authority. It also took place mere days after Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta told Bloomberg he is in talks with the NHL about bringing a team to Houston.
Well, it's obvious that, Houston's a transient city. A lot of Northerners have been moving down here, hockey players. There's over 1,500 adults, 1,000 kids, 2,000 figure skaters. And just, the ability to see everybody come together, no matter what their team is.
Houston's a hockey town. It's a melting pot. You got people look around you. You got people from Dallas. You got people from New York. You got Philly fans. You got the number one out there, the Detroit people. Let's go, Red Wings. It's a hockey town because it's a melting pot. You got everybody out here that's still has a great desire and love for the game of hockey. And we're waiting, itching, dying for our team back. Bring back the Aeros. We're here waiting for them.
Houston is our nation's largest city without a pro hockey team.
Now with Tillman pushing hard for the NHL, I have high hopes that we'll see the Aeros again, for good. I don't know if that name is currently owned by Minnesota, but I have hopes that we can make it work. I've been following the NHL for a couple years now. I'm currently a Penguins placement fan. We just had a really massive win against the Flyers. We needed that. That was such a crazy game. I would love to see an NHL team in Houston. I truly believe that we can get it done. I believe that Houston can support an NHL team. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, please share so we can keep the ball rolling on this. And subscribe if you want to. I'll see you guys later.
Jack Stanfield here. I was a player in the early 70s with the Houston Aeros, played the first 2 seasons they were here, 72, 73, 73, 74. We won the championship in 73, 74. I retired and then moved into the front office, ended up being vice president and assistant general manager for the team until it moved out of here in 79. But I think that experience and the kind of attendance we got and the enthusiasm that it illustrated for the city and the interest in hockey is clearly an indication of why Houston needs an NHL team and is capable, it's very capable of supporting an NHL team. This city of Houston is a hockey town.